you're recording it. So
I just like to preface it with saying we'll never put this out there. It's like,
no, that's all good. No problem.
okay, so to start with, I want to ask you to just explain or sort of summarize the entire concept in the article in your own words, like to, in layman's words, like how would you explain it to just somebody who's reading the article?
Yeah, that's fine. Just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna call up what I had sent to you.
Oh,
Just give me
absolutely.
a
I can
second.
pull it up if you want. I have it right here. I can
No,
share.
no, no, it's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. Hold on just 1 second. Good. So my thoughts here are the Barron's article is really highlighting that because of the remote work trend, that the office REITs are going to have a lot of issues, and they really focus on strictly on the downside of it.
Mhm.
My perspective here is that the REIT stocks have gone down tremendously, based on the fear of the remote work and what will happen when leases roll over, the big leases roll over. And my perspective here is that when you have a specific negative point of view towards a certain amount of stocks, that's really the time when you want to assess your point of view. And my point of view here is that with unfortunately the upcoming recession, I think the whole job situation is going to reverse.
Mhm.
And I think the employers are going to be able to not, I don't want to use the word force, but they can uh, suggest highly that people come in person. And then I think as a result, companies are going to need the space that they have and maybe even more space.
Mhm.
And that as a result, I don't see the lease revenue going down dramatically the way others do. And I think as a result, I think there's going to be opportunities based on what's going on right now that you can, if you have this differing point of view, that right now buying some of these office REIT stocks could be a good investment.
Okay.
I think the other thing when you buy a company is not just the buildings they own, but how do they finance the buildings? What's their liability side? And if they have mainly floating rate debt without interest rate caps, that with interest rates going up, it might impede their ability to hold on to these buildings because if loans come due or they can't afford to pay the interest, then they might be forced into a fire sale of the buildings. And when you have a fire sale, you're not going to get the proper valuation.
Right.
So I think so that that's overall my perspective on the article. Yeah, I
Mhm.
respect what Barron's has to say. I think it's a great point of view,
Mhm.
but my perspective is that I think there's another side to it. And since the 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 negativity has been priced into the stocks,
Mhm.
if you have a different point of view, then you can do something about it.
Okay. Interesting. I'm just going over the article to see what else
Yeah,
I
that's fine. Take your
have
time.
brain about, because the
Yep,
thing
yep.
is, when we're working with topics like this, it's something I have zero background on, but it's what we have to build upon on your
It's
thought,
fine. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So,
Mhm.
um, so what would your advice be to companies who own this real estate or are renting this real estate?
I'm not really looking at the companies that own it. I'm looking at the individual investor.
Right.
Because Barron's is taking a perspective of because of the remote work, the stock prices have gone down on these companies.
Yeah.
So I'm giving the perspective on the stock prices and
Mhm.
what an individual investor should be doing about it based on their point of view on remote work and on the balance sheet of these companies.
Got it. Okay. Understood. I think this definitely does give me a better understanding. Um, I think this is enough to give a first stab at writing the first draft. Is there any other information you think should be mentioned in the lead-in? Anything else from your point of view that we should add
No,
to it?
I learned from the first time, you taught me well the first time around in terms of what you need and what's critical. So
Mhm.
I think what I need is uh, some infrastructure around it, not that much, but
Yeah,
some infrastructure around it.
yeah,
And then I think hopefully we can post it and see what happens.
absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna